Hey everyone, Verotech here again with another quick tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to go over how to manually import a WordPress site. In the last video, we manually exported a WordPress site as if you were going to migrate it to another hosting provider or just to back up your data. So this is going to assume that we have the SQL file and the backup of the WordPress core files, plugin files, theme files, etc. from the previous video. So the first thing that we want to do is come to cPanel, and we're not going to have any databases just yet. So if we go into the databases, we can create a new database. So we can call this wpdb003. And this will create a new database. And if we come over here to phpMyAdmin, refresh that, click on the database, click up import, choose our file. Now, depending on where you've downloaded the file at, is going to depend on where you want to browse to. We have put it in I put it in a specific folder the last time. So we'll go ahead and open that, click go, and we can see that it's imported all of these tables. So the next thing we want to do is go into the file manager. We want to click upload, and then we already have our backup here, and we're going to drag that into there. Then we can close this and come back here. Now we can see that we have our WordPress backup to .zip. So we'll go ahead and right click, click extract, hit OK. We'll delete this so that we're not consuming extra storage. So typically your website is going to be in the root of the public HTML. If it's a subdomain or an add-on domain, it may be in a different directory. So in this one, we're going to assume that we're just installing WordPress in the default public HTML. So we uploaded the WordPress backup file and have extracted it. But you see here it creates this other directory. So what we want to do is go into that directory, click highlight all, and drag these over to the public HTML. So now we'll see that if we click here again, these are in the root of the public HTML, and we can delete this directory. So go ahead and delete that. And now we have a relatively clean install of WordPress. There's, not a bunch of random folders or files, what have you. So since we've already created a database, we want to remember that name. Copy that, because we're going to need to edit the wpconfig file. So if you right click on that and click edit, we have your database name, your database user, and the password for that user. Now this, in each, we're going to randomly generate the password, so there's no issues here with showing this on screen. So we want to take that name and go ahead and paste that there. And we'll use this same password here. And we'll come back over to the databases, and the database name is, we're going to keep with this same wpdb003 just for the tutorial. So we'll do wpdb003, and then the password we'll paste in there, and we'll create this user. The next step that we want to do is add the user to the database. For this tutorial, we're just going to choose all privileges depending on what your site does and what type of plugins and themes and access people have to it. You may not need nearly all of these options. It's going to really depend on the configuration of your site. But for this tutorial, we're just going to select all so that we don't run into any issues. And we'll go ahead and go back. So now if we come back to the wp config file, we'll change this one here for the username, wpdb003. And before we change that, if we come up here, we can see that we're getting a database error, and that's because this information is not what we've configured here in cPanel. So now that we've changed all this, go ahead and click Save, and this should resolve the database error. And here we go. And it's as simple as that. The process, doing it on your own without, doing the tutorial, and this should take just a few minutes with a relatively small site. Some larger sites you have to do in a different process. You might need to split the zip files, only compress the WP content, or the other things can be left alone, and you can re-upload those after the fact. The same goes with the database. If you have a very large database, you may need to import and export via SSH. If you're migrating to our services, or you currently have service with us and you need to import a large database, feel free to open a ticket and we can handle that for you. If you found this video helpful, feel free to subscribe and hit the like button. If you have any questions or suggestions on the video, feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.